What is up? Welcome to the next episode of the All Average Wrestling Show. Kind of been a hot minute. Once again, I know you're tired of fucking hearing those excuses. Hopefully, everything we get back to a regularly scheduled, consistently recording here. But holy shit, what a shit show the road to WrestleMania 42 has been thus far. I got some Revolution thoughts. I know it was a few weeks ago, heading into Dynasty and everything in the AEW. And then tonight's NXT Stand and Deliver, where that's also not looking. A lot of people I know is not sold into that. So let's really get into it here. WrestleMania 42, the road to WrestleMania 42. What an absolute dumpster fire the road to WrestleMania 42 has been thus far. I know people, if you listen, if you're on the space with Zeus on X, give a follow Zeus Backstage on YouTube and stuff. Check it out. He went through the past WrestleMania builds last year, like going back, I think, to 30, I want to say, and asked, are these builds better or worse than this year's Mania right now? Builds. And for the most part, most people said, most of these matches builds up were not that good. And they were probably worse than what's going on now. To each of their own. That could be worse a few years ago and under Vince. Trust me, it probably was worse under Vince. But that doesn't excuse how bad it is now. And you're seeing them fall into the same trap, the same thing that they fell into last year. Now, this week we didn't get Jelly Roll on SmackDown, but we're going to have a Jelly Roll match. Okay. I mean, harmless tag match, whatever. I don't really care. They've always had celebrity involvement. The Pat McAfee reveal. Now, yesterday, when it happened live, I wasn't against it. I thought it brought life to the feud of Orton and Rhodes, which has been clearly on life support for the last few weeks, along with a lot of the feuds heading into WrestleMania 42, which we'll get into here. When your big reveal, a commentator, and that's what Pat McAfee is in the WWE umbrella right now. He was a commentator. He had some matches here and there, but for the main part, he was a commentator. The Pat McAfee inclusion in this storyline does not make sense. I did not hate Pat McAfee's promo last night. I didn't even hate his explanation. His explanation made sense. It just didn't make sense for this feud. I had a few hours of sleep on it, and I rewatched it this morning, and that's my conclusion on that. Pat McAfee, right message, decent promo, and I think he's gonna kill it as a heel, but it doesn't make sense for this story. Now, the main interest is McAfee in Rhodes. That is taken away from Orton in Rhodes, which a lot of people wanted the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton match. I'm one of them that did not. I did not. I don't care that they were in Legacy 15 years ago. I don't care. That does absolutely nothing for me. Okay, Randy Orton has shown nothing in the last year that says, okay, he should be in the main event feud. He should be going for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. Nothing said that in the past year. And I don't even blame Randy Orton for why this feud has gone completely downhill. The issue is he shouldn't have turned heel. Randy Orton has hit the place in his career right now where he can literally do anything. He could set a house on fire. He can go rob a bank. He could punt a baby. The crowd will still cheer for him. He has hit that point in his career where they will not boo him no matter what. Turning Randy Orton heel made this feud dead in the water right away. I get not turning Cody Rhodes heel. I do get it. He is this generation's John Cena, or at least attempt of John Cena. The cookie cutter, babyface, top guy. I get it. But if you were going to turn someone in this feud, Randy was not the answer here. Now, maybe there's a swerve coming. Maybe there's another person where I know Baydala alluded to or Spears thighs about, where maybe there's a bigger reveal, or maybe we're in for a swerve at WrestleMania. Who knows? Okay? We won't know till WrestleMania. But right here, right now, the build to this match has not been good. And we can go down this WrestleMania card right now because as of right now, there's only one match, possibly two, on this card who have had a great to good slash solid build. Let's really go through it here. Reigns. The momentum of Punk Reigns has completely dropped since the CM Punk lost his cool because Roman Reigns called him old. That's what sends you over the edge. Being called old. You sat there and brought up Roman Reigns' dead father, and Reigns had the restraint not to hit you. But Roman Reigns calls you old, and you sock the shit out of him. That did not make CM Punk look cool. That did not escalate the feud. It made CM Punk look like he can't handle trash talk. He can't handle that kind of stuff. He lost his cool because he got called old. So the World Heavyweight Championship match on Raw their feud has taken a hit and has been pretty much nose diving since. The CM Punk attack this past Monday didn't nosedive the feud more, but kept it steady, at least for another week. We already got into Cody and Randy. That feels like I don't know how you save that feud right now. And I think we'll find out this Friday, because this Friday will probably decide how people are going to feel about this match heading into WrestleMania, even with the Pat McAfee reveal today, or last night on Friday Night SmackDown. Though one of the feuds I think that has been actually good this WrestleMania season is Stephanie Vaquera versus Liv Morgan. I think that's been clear as day the best women's feud heading into WrestleMania right now. I mean, maybe it's really not that good because the other ones have been so fucking bad. But my opinion here, I think the Stephanie Vaquera Liv Morgan feud has been good so far. I think I'm sold on it. I think it's been decent. Now let's go on the flip side here. Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, I think flat out has been the worst feud heading into WrestleMania right now. And I don't know if I can blame Jade Cargill. Because heading into this feud, we knew what Jade Cargill was. And kind of the whole point of this feud was to use Rhea to help elevate Jade Cargill to a higher level. And through promos, through these angles, I don't think Rhea Ripley has done that. This feud, off the rip, smelled. From the awkward Twitter exchange they had to the terrible first promo they've had, it has just been terrible right off the bat. To a point, some people are starting to turn on Ripley. Some people are starting to realize Jade may not be that good. This feud has been disastrous, and I'd go as far as saying it is worse than the Charlotte Tiffany Stratton feud heading into Mania last year. Because you know what? At least with those two, the build-up sucked, but we had confidence the match would be probably good or decent. And it was. It was a decent match. I don't think anyone has to hope that Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley is going to be a good match at WrestleMania, even before the feud started. So this right here, Jade Cargill, Rhea Ripley, has been the worst feud heading into Mania. The only one I think you could probably justify as surpassing that is the women's tag team match, where that division is, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that division. We'll get to that one in a bit. The next match, I think this one flat out has been the best build for WrestleMania, not even close to a point. People are actually campaigning online that this match should main event night one over Cody and Randy. I'm talking Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar has made Oba Femi look like $1,000,000 this whole feud. And I see people saying, well, Brock should win, because then what do you do with Oba then? Who beats Oba? Oba should win this match. We're trying to create new stars. I don't believe in this over by defeat kind of mentality that some people have. Because guess what? If Brock beats Oba, all we're going to hear is, well, why'd they let the old guy win? Why aren't they trying to bank new stars? Oba should win this match. If you want to do a rematch, probably I don't know, go Backlash so you can move some tickets there, or maybe Paris. and give Brock the win back, fine. Grant, I wouldn't. But if you're kind of hell bent on Brock getting a win over Oba, fine. But at WrestleMania 42, Obafemi should defeat Brock Lesnar. This build-up has been practically perfect so far. And it's a match where no one should expect a 5-star classic here. It's not going to be that. But it is by far the most anticipated match on this card, the best built match on this card. And I think, honest to God, it'll probably be the match that probably is going to be the most talked about coming out of WrestleMania, regardless of who wins. Because if Oba wins, Oba went over on Brock Lesnar, looked like $1,000,000 and looks like the next big thing. Steal that from the Brock Lesnar moniker there. If Brock wins, now you have the discourse of Brock went over on Oba. Why are we feeding our young stars to Brock Lesnar? So this is going to be one of the most talked about matches, regardless of who wins WrestleMania weekend. AJ Lee defends the Intercontinental Championship against Becky Lynch. This feud has been up and down, and it's been going on since about September. I don't think this feud's terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible. Like, if you had to ask me what probably is the third, maybe top 5 feuds heading into this Mania that have been done good to well, AJ Becky Lynch is probably, they'll probably go number 5 for that. It's been okay. It hasn't been great, hasn't been amazing, hasn't been like, oh, this is a match that people want to see now. But it could be better. But with how bad everything else has been so far on this, I feel like this is one where a lot of people are like, okay, whatever. Do we really want to see the AJ Lee, Becky Lynch continue the feud again? No. But the feud itself, fine. It's been fine. Fine. Whatever. Regardless of this, Becky Lynch should win the IC title back. AJ Lee should not win this match. Because at some point, you got to have Becky get a win over AJ Lee. Or what are we doing? Just going to have AJ Lee beat Becky over and over again? At that point, you're kind of hurting Becky. AJ should lose this match. Pretty clear. Next match on this, the United States Championship match, Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams. I'm high on Trick Williams. If you asked me, I honestly thought if the plan was to go multi-man for the WWE Championship match, Trick should have won the chamber and should have been in that. He is going to be a world champion in WWE. He is that guy. He is that caliber of a star. And you saw it in NXT, and you're really seeing it now. I know a lot of people are against Sami Zayn as United States champion. This is now kind of a broader issue now. 2 guys who WWE really wants you to cheer for are now starting to get booed by the live audience. They have somehow made live audience dislike Cody Rhodes. Well, really be 50-50 on Cody Rhodes and not like Sami Zayn. Trick Williams should win this match. I don't like that Melo lost the U.S. title before WrestleMania. I do believe they're probably going to add Melo to this match. At least I hope. Because Carmelo Hayes should be on this WrestleMania card. I know a lot of people would be like, well, they don't deserve anything. If we're basing it off the last year, of everyone on this roster that's currently not on the Mania card, that's not injured right now, Carmelo Hayes is number 1 on that list. That has more than whatever earned his place to be on this WrestleMania card, even more than some of the people that are currently on this card. But Trick Williams should win this match. The build to this has been up and down. A lot of people, I think the main thing is Sami Zayn winning the U.S. title has kind of left a piss poor taste in a lot of people's mouths here. And I get that. I understand that. Once again, I don't think Sami Zayn should have won the U.S. title either. I think he could have got Trick and Sami in a U.S. title match with Carmelo without taking the title off Melo here. Maybe you have him lose at Mania, because regardless, WrestleMania should be Trick Williams' moment. Trick Williams should be the United States champion walking out of WrestleMania. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, unsanctioned match. This is another feud that's kind of been up and down, but it's also a feud that a lot of people were just done with. They've been feuding for a while. they've had matches before. This feels more like the crowd's just done with it, and you can argue that this match probably should have had the WWE Championship attached to it, but this, once again, because of how bad everything else is, if you had to rank the top 5 feuds heading into WrestleMania, I said AJ Becky's probably 5. This one's probably 4. I feel like this one has to be 4 here. But, Jacob Fatu should win this match here. I think he should beat Drew McIntyre. Like, this is your either night 1 or night 2 stipulation match, because the ladder match would be the other night. So, I don't know, this feud does nothing for me, but because of how bad everything else is right now, I consider it a top 5 feud heading into WrestleMania right now. Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio. I haven't seen a lot of, like, heavy or negative opinions on this one. I'll be honest, I've actually liked the feud so far between Dom and Finn. I wanna see Finn win, which they're doing a job here with this one, because you wanna see Finn get his comeuppance on Dominic Mysterio on the Judgment Day. But Finn Balor should beat Dominic Mysterio here. Finn needs to win more than Dom, and once again, because of how bad everything else is, this has probably been the number 3 feud right now heading to Mania, because it's been safe. It's been a real safe feud right now. They haven't taken any unnecessary risks. They haven't done anything stupid as of right now. So, but this should be a Finn Balor win here. Well, I'll get into my WrestleMania predictions the week of WrestleMania, or probably on the DJ and Heel show when they do their whatever, and I'll have announcements for WrestleMania week for the Main Event Hub and our Facebook group, the Elite Wrestling Society. Go and join that. But next match, the Fatal 5-Way for the United States Intercontinental Championship match title. Penta, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, and Rusev. I don't like that they told us who made it in already when they just promoted all these qualifying matches on main event. They should have announced, hey, the qualifying matches here are going to be on main event, and it gives people a reason to tune in to main event, which is something that, no offense, no one fucking watches. But I'm happy for Javon Evans. I'm happy for actually all 5 of these guys, because they're going to get showcased. They all, I mean, with the exception of probably Rusev and maybe JD, they've all had a solid year past year. This is going to be a fun match. I'm not really a big ladder match guy. Never really have been. The only ladder match I've ever liked was the one for the inaugural NXT North American Championship. But this is going to be a match a lot of people, I think, are really going to like heading into WrestleMania. I feel there's only 2 people in this match I feel like that probably should win. Penta is one, and then the other is, I don't think Russo's win. I think it's, my honest opinion, I think it's between Penta and Javon Evans for this one. I honestly, I think it's probably too soon to take title off of Penta. Yeah, there hasn't really been a build for this one, so it's kind of like, I see incomplete here. There's that. The Women's Tag Team Championship match, the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team. The Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and Lash Legend, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, and the Bella Twins. This feud has been terrible. If Rhea and Jade isn't your worst feud heading into Mania, then it's probably this one. There's not really much to get into this one with. It's just not good. Nia and Lash Legend should lose the tag titles here. They have been horrendous as champions. Lash should probably be on her own, because Lash is going to be a world champion at some point in WWE. You see the potential. But this tag team, their run as tag team champions, it hasn't been good. It has not been a good reign. Bliss and Flair, that team has kind of ran its course. Like, I feel like that's probably a SmackDown after Mania breakup, because I don't think they're winning. I think it's going to be between Bayley and Lyra and the Bella Twins. Honestly, I feel like they're probably going to go the Bella Twins here. I mean, there's no real good. I mean, there's one good outcome out of this match, and it's Bayley and Lyra winning. I think a lot of people like Bayley and Lyra. I like Bayley and Lyra. I think Bayley and Lyra should probably win this. But it really feels like they're going to go with the Bella Twins to get the tag titles here and give them their moment. This is give them their flower moment. But this feud is absolutely nothing for anyone. No one watching, no one in it. It's not to be disrespectful. This is probably your piss break match for WrestleMania. And then finally, Seth Rollins versus Gunther. This one's nothing more than we need to get Gunther on the WrestleMania card because we have absolutely butchered him since he ended John Cena's career. This is what happens when you're hell bent on someone's entire gimmick being, well, he can only really wrestle if someone's career's on the line. He's the career killer. And I see people trying to justify it. We'll get our answers on Monday as to why Gunther did this. But this match is nothing more than we need to get Gunther on the Mania card, and Rey Mysterio is not going to be cleared in time. Which topic here? Chris Jericho returned to AEW this past week, and this is the issue you're now running into with forcing everyone's final match to be against Gunther. Some people in professional wrestling actually want to say on who they're retiring against, when they want to retire. And it feels like the big moving point for Jericho coming back to AEW was he didn't want to retire. He didn't want to wind his career down. And I'm probably in there, he wanted to have a say on who he retires against and where. Where WWE was just going to return him for a little pop and probably retire him by the end of the year to Gunther. So you know what? I don't blame Chris Jericho for re-signing with AEW because WWE hell-bent on making sure Gunther ends everyone's career and that Gunther is everyone's last match. Does not work for most people. Doesn't work. Yeah, I get it. Gunther is a guaranteed good match. Gunther can get a good match out of anyone. It has been proven. With the exception of maybe Jey Uso. He can get a good match out of everyone. But with that said, it has to make sense. It has to make sense. Not everyone wants Gunther to be their final opponent. I think if John Cena really had his way and he wasn't this, you know what, do what you guys got to do. I'll face whoever, whatever. For my final match, I'll put whoever over at the end. I don't think John Cena would have wanted Gunther as his final opponent. I don't think AJ would have wanted Gunther as his final opponent. Goldberg doesn't really matter because Goldberg has had like 5 perfect send-offs and bitches about all of them. So Goldberg's irrelevant. The only person that's probably like, okay, with Gunther probably being his final opponent is probably Brock. I don't blame Chris Jericho for not going to WWE just so he could wrestle for a few months and then be forced retired by someone he probably doesn't want to retire against. Not that he doesn't want to face Gunther at all, but I don't think he wants to retire to Gunther. So that's the issue WWE is heading to with Gunther. They can't keep forcing Gunther onto all these legends and say, you're going to retire, and Gunther's going to be the reason you retire. Let Gunther have a normal gimmick. Randy Orton was the legend killer. Randy Orton's every match wasn't against fucking legends. Gunther doesn't need every major match to be ending someone's career, which is why you're in the fucking predicament you're in. Because you couldn't pivot in time to make it make sense for a WrestleMania match for Gunther. Because no offense, Gunther Rollins probably going to be a banger of a match. It makes no fucking sense. None. And if Braun Breaker's cleared, really makes no fucking sense why you're leaving Braun off the card. But we wanted a decent build for it. You've been building for it. You have been building this literally since the night Breaker turned on Rollins. And Seth Rollins started to come out and attack people under a mask. Did it a Rumble. You already started building it. You already started building Rollins' first division. Breaker would be a part of that. So don't tell me it's because, well, we wanted to have a proper build for Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. You've been building for that. You've been building towards that. This is nothing more than we need to get Gunther on the card because we fucked up. Point blank, end of story. This match is happening because they had nothing for Gunther. Don't buy the bullshit that, well, they want a proper build for Rollins Breaker. They've had a proper build. They've been doing a proper build for it. All stars, all roads were leading to Gunther coming back, and that's the one who's going to represent Paul Heyman in the Vision at WrestleMania instead. And this match is probably good. Once again, this match is probably going to be really good. There's a chance it could be the match of WrestleMania, but it doesn't make sense. And the only reason it is happening is because they had nothing for Gunther, because they are hell bent on every big match this dude has to be ending someone's career. So that's WrestleMania 42 right now. Is it the worst build of all time to a WrestleMania? Absolutely not. We've seen worse. But this is now 2 years in a row, 3 years into the quote unquote Triple H era of WWE. 40 was an all timer. 41 was bad. 42 looks worse right now. It's at least at 41. You were at least your world title matches both heading into WrestleMania weren't dead in the water. We're 2 weeks away, and most people have jumping off the ship for both your main event matches, one of your main women's world championship matches, and the match that people want to main event WrestleMania is Obafemi Brock Lesnar, where I think that's going to kick off WrestleMania, if we're going to be honest. But that's WrestleMania 42, and they got 2 weeks. Really one, because the week of WrestleMania, nothing really big happens. It's just final sells to WrestleMania. We have 1 week. This upcoming Raw and this upcoming SmackDown to really get people sold on this fucking card. And I don't know if they can do it. No idea. So shifting gears here, AEW, I think, has been doing decent so far. I think they've been up and down. They've gone down from their high to start the year, but they've been, I guess, consistent. They're getting a lot of their guys back now. Osprey made his big return. Omega's somewhat healthy for once. Jericho's back. Hurt Business is returning. The only people they're really missing is Tony Storm, which no one knows what the fuck's happening there. Jay White, we really haven't gotten any update on Jay White. I feel like he should. I feel like if he's gonna come back, I think it's gonna be during the Owen, right? Or maybe he's Moxley's feud. Excuse me there. Moxley's feud after Osprey. But aside from the women's division as a whole in AEW, everything's been solid for them. It's been solid. MJF, Kenny Omega. Built, it's not atrocious. And it's going to be, probably going to be MJF's best match of his whole world title reign. MJF should win this match, by the way. So going through the Dynasty card right now, you got Alex Windsor versus Maria Shafir. They've already ruined Maria Shafir. They had her lose to Mina Shirakawa. They were going to have her lose to Tony Storm again. They had Tony Storm beat her. And then had a random stare down with Ronda Rousey, which is going to lead to nothing. It was nothing more than a fuck you to TKO. Hats off to the pettiness from Tony Khan there. But Maria Shafir, even if she beats Alex Windsor, which I don't think she's gonna, that's it for her. FTR versus Cope and Cage. I've actually liked this feud so far. This is a feud I didn't think I was going to like at all heading into Dynasty. I love it. I think this is a good feud. I think Cope and Cage should probably win this match. And then this probably starts their final run until Cope's retirement later this year. Moxley Osprey, I think it's best feud right now in AEW. I don't get why this is going to be for the Continental Championship, because Osprey doesn't need the Continental title. Grant, neither does Moxley, but Osprey doesn't need it. And it feels like the only out to this is a draw. And I don't think these two should be having a draw. They should have had Moxley drop at last pay-per-view to Konosuke Takeshita and have this be pretty much a one-off blow-off to this, because you're going to have Will Ospreay, assuming Will Ospreay is going to be in the Owen Hart tournament. But it's one of two options here. Either Ospreay's going to win, or this is going to be a draw. And I hope it's not a draw. But I also don't think Ospreay needs a Continental Championship. But this is where that's my only complaint about that feud. Other than that, this feud has been good. Andrade El Idolo versus Darby Allin. If Darby wins, he's going to challenge for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing. I feels like Darby is going to win this match over Andrade. We're going to get MJF versus Darby at Double or Nothing, it feels like. A year ago, Darby Allin what's closer to the world championship than MJF. All the stars aligned for Darby Allin to be the one at All In, Texas, to win the AEW World Championship off Jon Moxley. He chose to count Little, and he hasn't been remotely close since. Like, even if Darby Allin wins this match, and he's going to Double or Nothing to challenge for the world title, which presumably that is probably where he's getting the title match. He's not winning. Double or Nothing's not going to be Darby Allin's crown in the moment. So yeah, he's going to get a world title match, but he's further away from winning it now than he was a year ago, and that's on Darby. That's the risk you play, and I don't blame Tony. You could climb Mount Everest whenever, and I get it was delayed because you broke your foot against Jay White in Boston and then got hit by a bus. But when you know you're probably going to win the world title here, you don't pick the fucking mountain over that. And that's probably why he's further away from winning a world title now than he was a year ago. MJF Omega, the match itself is going to be great. Just Kenny Omega cannot hang with MJF on the mic. Like when Speedball Mike Bailey is coming out and having better promos than you, there's a problem. This feud has been solid so far. It's been solid. The devil versus the god of professional wrestling is the tagline for this. MJF should win. I know there's some arguments if you listen to DJ and the heel that Kenny Omega should win, and Kenny Omega Will Ospreay is the big money match for AEW. It's MJF Will Ospreay is the money match for AEW, Wembley Stadium. That's your money match right now. And that's where this should be heading to. When we get to All In, it should be MJF Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship. And then Thekla Jamie Hayter, this feels like more of a Tony's hurt. We need to figure something out. Here's Jamie Hayter. I don't like you have what, like 3 actual tag teams in this women's tag team division, and you're not even having them team up. You're not even having them go for the titles. You're just throwing one from a tag team into a world title feud because you need to think of something quick because something happened with Tony Storm, which low-key, I'm not happy that something happened to Tony Storm. Happy Tony Storm Thekla is not happening because Tony Storm is probably going to win. And then we were going to be on the course for Storm Monet too. Because All In feels like Mercedes Monet is going to get that title, quote unquote, her redemption run. Dynasty build's been fine. AEW television as of late has been good. It's been a hell of a lot better than WWE. And I know people don't think that because now we got the supply and demand crowd over here talking about well, WWE can justify their ticket prices because it's supply and demand. And there's a legit chance All In at Wembley outsells WrestleMania. Last night, the Pat McAfee stuff is not going to get people to come in. John Cena hosting WrestleMania is not going to move tickets. Now it's in Jelly Roll and Danhausen versus Miz and Kit Wilson. Not going to do much. So that is that. Tonight we got NXT Stand and Deliver. The following matches. So we got the pre-show match, which is something they don't really do. But we got Hank and Tank versus Shiloh Hill versus EK Prosper versus the WWE Women's Speed Champion Ren Sinclair versus Birthright, Lexis King, Shannon Stacks Lorenzo, Charlie Dempsey, Uriah Connors, and the TNA Knockouts champion, Ariana Grace. Birthright should win this match. They need the win more. If you're really trying to establish this group as probably your top heel group, unless Vanity Project's going to be your top heel faction. They need the win here. They need the win here. And aside from Hank and Tank, I like everyone in this match. Well, Chan Stacks Lorenzo's clear as day, the weak link at the Birthright. But I don't know. This is just a pre-show match, get you into it and stuff, whatever. I get it. No complaints there. Vandy Project versus Los Americanos. Bravo and Rayo Americano for the NXT Tag Team Championships. I assume we're going to get an interference by the original El Grande Americano here. But Vandy Project should win this match. I would not be shocked at some point this year we have Jackson Drake as either your North American or NXT champion. And Vandy Project's holding on to all the titles. They're a fun group. I like them. I think I wouldn't break them up at all. Like, I would not be shocked if we're coming by the end of the year and NXT is pretty much the Vandy Project show. Would not shock me. Miles Bourne versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship. This is probably going to be the best match Johnny Gargano has had in a very long time. I'm kind of sold on Johnny Gargano trying to rediscover himself story. I don't know if I'd turn the Motor City Machine Guns and ally him with Gargano and Candice LeRae, but I feel like Gargano refinding himself and going back on that underdog run because Johnny Gargano has the you want to cheer for him underdog look here. He had it in NXT, still has it now. I think even him at his lowest right now, and when both of them were up in the main roster, I honestly always felt Johnny Gargano was closer to being a potential world champion than Tommaso Ciampa ever was, even though I like Tommaso Ciampa's work a hell of a lot more. And I think that's even the case now. But Miles Bourne should win this match. There's no reason for Johnny Gargano to win the North American Championship here. Unless Gargano's going to jump into that Sean Spears role where he's a player coach now. But Miles Bourne should retain here. JC Jane, Kendall Gray, Lola Vice, triple threat for the NXT Women's North American Championship title. Kendall Gray should win the NXT Women's Championship here. I don't agree with Dave Meltzer on a lot, but he is right when he says Kendall Gray is probably is going to end up being the best female wrestler North America produces. She's that good 2 years in. She made Evolve worth talking about. Got people to talk about Evolve. She's a generational talent, and you can see it. Tonight should be her moment. She should be the NXT Women's Championship champion tonight. We should probably be gearing up for either the Fatal Influence breakup or the Fatal Influence call up to the main roster. This is where JC Jane should get her flowers. She's proved a lot of people wrong, myself included. We thought when she won the NXT Championship, it was, let's just get a shock moment. She'll be transitional. They'll probably give it to Blake Monroe or Sol Ruca or Jordan Grace, and she'll just be transitional. She's killed it as NXT Women's Champion. She's shown she could be a single star in WWE. She is the only one of Toxic Attraction that's still standing in WWE. And in the pro wrestling bubble, the most relevant of the three. Because Mandy's retired and Priscilla Kelly is, I don't know what the fuck Priscilla Kelly is doing now, doing garbage matches and GC. But hats off to JC Jane here. It has been a hell of a run as NXT champion. It should end tonight. It should be Kendall Gray winning the title. Where's Lola Vice go from here? I feel like Lola Vice is only here to eat the pin. But tonight should be Kendall Gray's moment as wins the NXT Women's Championship, and now you got the ball rolling here. Sol Ruca versus Zarya. So I don't hate this feud. I think it's actually been a good feud. It's a match there where honestly, because of how bad the presumed main event build has been, you can make the Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes argument here that Sol versus Zarya should main event Stand and Deliver. It's probably not going to be the best match of the night. Don't get me wrong. But this is another example of they may have turned the wrong person here. Zarya, in her reasonings for why she attacks Sol, makes sense, and it makes her sympathetic. Sol Ruca, being the babyface here, does not make sense. And the NXT crowd told you that. Has been telling you that. I feel like I don't know if this is going to be a one-off match or you're going to do multiple. I feel like Zarya should probably win here. And this is Sol's send-off to the main roster. So Tatum Paxley, Blake Monroe for the NXT North American Championship. This one's a little unpredictable. I don't know where you go here. Blake probably needs the win here badly. But Tatum Paxley with 2 championship reigns so far and like that. I don't know what that does for Paxley. Both of them are main roster ready. Both should be up there. Should be gearing up to potentially move one of them up or elevate one of them to the NXT Women's Championship here. But like this I like this one because there's a huge sense of unpredictability with this match. I lean a little towards Blake Monroe here because I feel like they need to have her win because of the botched title loss to Thea Hill, and her momentum since then has kind of been going down. So, what better way to bring it back up than getting the title back to her, which I don't think she would have lost it at all at this point if she didn't have the botch against Thea Hill. So, I like this one. I'm going to lean towards Blake Monroe to win, even though I don't really want Tatum Paxley to have 2 short reigns as champion in NXT, but that's where we are. Your main event for the NXT Championship, Joe Hendry versus Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page versus Tony D'Angelo. This whole four-way has not been good television for NXT. Now, Tony D'Angelo, I think Tony D'Angelo has shown he can do more than just be a mob boss, which is good because at one point, we all had the question. We knew the mob boss gimmick was not going to make it or work on the main roster. How are they going to reinvent Tony D'Angelo? And they did a decent job at to a point where if he went up, I think he'd do fine. He'd do good. It feels like there's only 2 options for this match here. It's Joe Hendry or Tony D'Angelo. Saints and Page should be heading up to the main roster after Mania. Especially Ethan Page. Like, Ethan Page has been ready. I don't stick Ethan Page down here just so you could squeeze out one more match or feud for him. Let him go up. He's gonna kill it on the main roster. Should be Ethan Page's swan song in NXT, and maybe Ricky Saints. Because I don't know where you go with Ricky Saints with another loss here for the NXT Championship. And I don't think Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page, just roles reversed, is the answer here for NXT. But the winner's match, I believe they're gonna remain Joe Hendry as champion. I think the person who's probably going to end Joe Hendry's reign is Jackson Drake or what the hell, Keanu Carter. I think probably those 2 are probably the 2 that come to mind that will probably end Joe Hendry's run. I don't think it'll be Tony D'Angelo. I don't, but strange things happen. If D'Angelo does win the NXT Championship, I think he'd be the second. No, he'd be the first to win practically everything in NXT at one point. Because he hasn't won the Speed and he hasn't won the NXT Championship, but he's won the Heritage Cup, which went away because I think it just went away. He won the North American Championship off of Oba. First person to beat Oba, it shouldn't have been. He's won the tag titles with Stacks. So, I mean, that's probably your NXT world title feud after this is Hendry and D'Angelo. But, I don't know. I mean, it's a decent card. It's going to be live on YouTube tonight because I seriously don't know why we're on YouTube. Unless they got a deal with YouTube. I assume we're probably going to get an NXT PLE rights announcement tonight. Either we'll find out it's staying on YouTube or they found a place. But yeah, give me Joe Hendry. That is NXT Stand and Deliver. I'm not getting into Janelle Grant stuff mainly because I didn't really read it at all. So I don't want to say something that I'm ill-informed of and it come back to haunt me. So I'm not going to talk about the Janelle Grant stuff. So anyone that's listening thinks, oh, why didn't he get to Janelle Grant? I'm not touching that subject. I'm just not. But yeah. So WrestleMania week, some announcements for the main event hub going on. So we're gonna have DJ Nahil is gonna be live Friday night, the night before WrestleMania. The Trivia Mania, which will be hosted by DJ, includes the Jet versus Heel, who is Brandon, and I forget I forget who the last person is. It's 3 of them. So they're probably going to kill me for this promotion here. But Trivia Mania, we will air live also in the Elite Wrestling Society Facebook group. So there's that. DJ Hill will be live right after that, Friday, night before WrestleMania. I will be doing a WrestleMania Night 1 post show, and depending on when WrestleMania Night 2 ends, possibly a Night 2 post show. If not, I will record something Monday, the day after. You got Dynasty next weekend. AEW Dynasty is next weekend. Um, Depending on what they really have the cards, I kind of gave my predictions here today. So I don't know if I'll do a Dynasty prediction show, but a Dynasty review show is definitely on the table here. Probably be a part of the WrestleMania week content. I'm going to do my own WrestleMania prediction show that will air before Friday of WrestleMania week. Go and join the Elite Wrestling Society on Facebook for a bunch of stuff for WrestleMania week. Also, non WrestleMania week stuff. NBA playoff preview show is going down. It will either be next Saturday or this Saturday after the day of WrestleMania, likely a morning show. So you'll have NBA predictions there. The seventh annual NFL first round live draft discussion show that we do will go down that Thursday. I will be back hosting it for a seventh consecutive year. Appearances by Reyes, Dane, probably Sean, Sid, anyone else that wants to join, you are openly invited to it. But NFL draft live show back for a seventh straight year. I'm going to try and get something going for the Rousey Carano card. And then I kind of want to get something going for the UFC White House card. That one might be the more trickier one to get done, but I think I might be able to get some people on board for the Rousey Carano. Another thing I want to do, which is on the sports side also, Home Run Derby in July. Kind of interested in doing that. I wanted to do it the last few years, just scheduling hasn't worked out. That's something that's on the table. Check out the article I wrote about a month ago about what went wrong between the connection between the WWE fans and Triple H and his creative run. Feels like that's very relevant now after last night. And trying to think, is there anything else I need to promote here that we're potentially working on or doing? We're on Spotify for audio version. We're on Spotify. We are on, I think what else we're on. We're on Apple Podcasts and now iHeartRadio. Some clips here will be dropped throughout the day here. Full episode will be dropped before NXT Stand and Deliver tonight. And yeah, so that is this week in wrestling. And presumably I will be back next week if anything major goes down, which I think probably will. So you will probably see me next week. But if not, you'll definitely hear from me the week after WrestleMania week numerous times. Also, check out the Elite Wrestling Society on Facebook, our group, University of Sports Debate on Facebook. Follow the Main Event Hub on all our socials, including X, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and much more. I am your host, Brandon B.T. Taylor. I am signing off. Enjoy your Saturday.